Take it away.
Into Oasis, the Gardens, always blooming. We take a look at bye week, where it is still going to be Shane in there. We haven't seen Cheershoy around. Meanwhile, to the Skyfoxes, we got Retzi, we got Jaru, and Retzi. I didn't believe we were going to be able to do this, but he's going to go Brigitte, where, you know, even though I like him better on the hit scan, he still has been pretty formidable on it.
Looks like, I'm not entirely too sure what prompted this, but we have Brigitte's coming out from both sides. Minish will be playing it, of course, as he has, as Skyfoxes. They were trying to make a wraparound here. Leafa in the back line with this Tracer does have to be careful. There is a Brigitte there, might get something out, but no, Jaru gets caught mid-air. Leafa takes him out, but it's a 1-for-1 exchange. Make that a 2-for-1 as Retzi takes out Pizza Demon.
Yeah, Retzi's still finding good moments here with Brigitte, but Jaru got chunked early on. Leafa was there for the slam dunk, but it might not matter in the end. The Skyfoxes still win the gritty ground battle, and Leafa has to retreat. The Skyfoxes get the first point.
Take a look. Retzi almost has a rally for his team. He's already at 91%. Bye week, they've got to be careful. Coming into this next fight, they can't give away free poke, or Retzi will be able to get it off. Now, they jump on in. We'll see who they try to prioritize. Pizza Demon, it's going to be a difficult target to try and jump on because they do have JKW on that Lucio who can boop away any targets.
Pulse bomb up, throws it out, doesn't connect, but still got heat in anyways with the aid of Shane. Nice poke coming in. Shane goes ape here on the point. He's angry, he's feeling it. He starts trying to boot people away, but it doesn't even matter because, again, even though it's a nice open by Leafa, the rest of Skyfoxes just move on into the rest of bye week, and they make it over in a flash.
Now Jaru's gonna have a blade, so it's gonna come down to Minish to try and shut it down. Shane had used his Primal Rage in that last fight, so they're not gonna have that displacement to try and confuse Jaru. Jaru, it's great to see him once again on this Genji. He really did make himself known for that when he was early on in his career, but here comes a very aggressive dive. And it comes up, Minish has fallen.
That went past the invisible line that you're not supposed to pass, where you're just like, we'll wait for you to come through here. And Skyfoxes go, we don't care about the line. We'll go over the line. They did lose heat end, but Jaru has the blade in tow. And this might be the time to let it loose. Bye week, going a little bit far. But Skyfoxes are just kind of poking back and forth. They know they don't have to invest too much here, but Retzi's down. They're gonna lose the Diva. Now I think they might have waited a little bit too long.
Yeah, and even if he tries to go for it, Pizza Demon has that Transcendence. But for Skyfoxes, you know, they are at least trading away some of the ultimates there. That was the Pulse Bomb, that was the Rally. The Rally will persist in the form of armor onto Pizza Demon and JKW. Skyfoxes were able to milk that all the way to up to 87%. And so now they got to figure out how are we going to set up Jaru for success. DPS, Guru, and Retzi, if they can get on top of Pizza Demon, force out that Transcendence early, they might have a chance, but he still has to try and get past Minish.
And Pizza Demon can be spooked a little bit easier than other Zens as well, so they're going to use the barrier early on. They just need to wait a little bit, but they lost Retzi. That's a problem. There's no Mercy in play, so deaths are permanent, but they're still going to commit. Transcendence out. Jaru waiting, blade in tow. And so far, doesn't he? It just does normal dash resets, gets on JKW. Leafa brings it back a little bit the other way, and now that the Transcend has been used, the fight's gritty, it's dirty. Bring out the blade. Jaru says, yeah, it's time. Let's get rustling in the mud. Pulls out the blade. It doesn't quite get as much as he wants, but the distraction is fine, and Guru finishes it off.
Now he's on the hunt for one more. He's got the Rally Shield also. 3 members of Bye Week are still here. The self-destruct took out Retzi, but still it's the Skyfoxes with the number advantage. But Minish has made it back, so they're going to have a little bit more staying power. DPS with the Primal Rage. He's able to take out 2 now as he's continuing on his rampage.
DPS making the most out of that Primal Rage. He's not angry anymore, but he still might be a little bit tilted. Going back the other way. Laying in the damage on Winston, and Skyfoxes gonna retake the point here bye week with one final attempt.
They got a final attempt, but they're also about to come up against another blade for Jaru, who's sitting at 80% now. Jer has the sound barrier for his team, and Hiden is getting closer to that coalescence. This could be the final blow for them as the sound barrier is used. They get aggressive.
And Jaru doesn't need a signal to go. He just pulls out the blade, dives the other way, looks for Brigitte, gets stunned. Brigitte trying to get away, might just do that. Jaru ends up falling. Minish, fancy footwork gets away. Special delivery from Leafa blows up Guru, and bye week, they've fought their way back into this, and they're looking to retake.
They're gonna retake, and Skyfox has used a lot into what they thought would have been the final fight. And so now, It's bye week in the driver's seat. They've got the self-destruct, they've got the primal rage, and Pizza Demon is coming up on another Transcendence now. Jaru's making a swap off onto the Pharah because he understands that there are no threats really to him while he's in the air, but it's going to be the ground battle that's very important here as they're taking an early engagement on bye week. Self-destruct's coming on out.
Self-destruct. Ends up zoning, doesn't get an actual elimination. Skyfoxes can get back over. Jaru takes the name a little bit literally because he's now in the sky, laying in the rockets from above, but here's Leafa, the threat, the pest, going to the back line, looking for the tank, drops a pulse bomb, almost gets a pickoff, not quite. That might come back to Autumn as Winston gets away, still alive, but not any longer. Waifu finishes his plate, and bye week has flipped this back. They take round 1.
What a surprising result here. So we're expecting Skyfoxes to be able to just power through this with their DPS powerhouse, but of course they weren't doing it on their best look, right? The best looks that we've seen out of Skyfoxes is Retzi on that Widowmaker, and he was not playing it all whatsoever. But as we move on to City Center here, this is a proposition for them. They could go for it, but right now, looks like they're still favoring the Brigitte.
On one hand, I don't think Retzi was playing the Brigitte bad. In fact, he had many good plays, got on fire early, was getting more damage than expected. On the other hand, you don't have Retzi on stuff that he's truly explosive on, and as you mentioned, I don't think it's the best look here for the Skyfoxes, even if Retzi is playing perfectly acceptable in that role.
No, Retzi was definitely playing more than acceptable. He was getting his more than his fair share of eliminations. The thing is that as a Widowmaker, you have that one-shot kill potential, and you end the fight much quicker than you would with the Brigitte. It's a slow burn trying to run this composition. It's Jaru, he's gonna be on that Genji, so Skyfoxes are looking for this dive once again. Bye week, it's Leafa on this Tracer trying to contest him here on the Pagoda.
But that time he takes a lot of damage off the deflect, has to burn the rewind as a result. He's getting a little bit more scrappy towards the other end, but already down. Finish, super low, trying to back off. Nowhere he can go, bowled right over. And it's both teams trading out back and forth. Which means that it's not likely either team is going to be able to cap this here just yet. We're going to be in for at least another wave of respawns as we look to Jaru, going around the outside, catches Pizza Demon with that quick right click. He's almost has a blade for the next wave of spawns.
Oh, great deflex there coming up from Jaru. He could have actually taken this fight up against Shane. Shane realizes that he could fall, so he backs away with his tanks now easier to contest, and Skyfoxes are still waiting on their respawns.
They're waiting for it. Jaru holding on to the blade. Sitting a little bit further back, biding his time, waiting for the opportunity, hoping there's no transcend, and he's right. The blade goes to the back, and now right to Brigitte, avoiding the stun, takes her head right off, back to the other way, and Jaru ends up falling, but the distraction more than enough. Skyfoxes gonna parlay this into getting this first point.
That was a gutsy play. He goes straight for the Brigitte. It's like, oh, are you the one who's supposed to counter me? Here's my blade in your face. So now Skyfoxes 20% on the board. It's the tank ultimates online for them. They've also been able to maintain a fair share of the rally shield. As you can see, it's on Jer and on to Hidan. So that's going to leave them a bit tankier here as bye week are looking to dive on in. Here comes a self-destruct.
And they open up, and oh, the self-destruct gets JKW early. I think bye week was going to look to transcend, but now the early pickoff, all they can do is but die. They need to hold back and respawn. The Skyfoxes, though, now open up a pretty big lead.
Yeah, 50%, as bye week are still struggling to come up to their ultimates now. Shane uses Primal Rage in that last fight, and so for this next one, they're gonna have both support ultimates, the Sound Barrier along with the Transcendence. We'll see. It was Guru who came up with the first pick on the self-destruct from the Skyfoxes. This time around, it's gonna be bye week's Waifu as he sends it on in.
Self-destruct to open things up. Does it connect? It does. Jared's out of the fight. And now the Skyfoxes have a long way to go. Retzi already low. Waifu diving on in. Reckless abandon, and why not? Skyfoxes can't really do much against this because of that early pick. Waifu sets the stage, and bye week should be able to cap it.
Jaru tries to delay this, as we have one more member making on. It's going to be Jer, who was able to make it back from spawn, but it instantly gets focused down. So only 86%. Skyfoxes, though, puts themselves in a great lead here as they're trying to tie up Oasis. Now, for the defense for bye week, they're going to have the Transcendence. They were able to hold on to that. Minish has the rally. He's not going to use it quite yet. It looks like he's going to go for a more mid-fight one. There we go, pops it now as they get aggressive onto the Skyfoxes. DPS gets caught out, but he has the primal.
I think Jaro likes what he sees here, though. If he can avoid the Brigitte stun while everyone's grouped up, that's a great time to go into Blade, but it is on a razor's edge. DPS, he's trying to disrupt it, make it a little bit easier for Jaro here. Rally's both in play, and now look to Jaro on the other side, still waiting. Transcendence out, Transcendence gone, Blade back in, takes Waifu, looks for more, and taken on down. But it's still a decent amount of damage, it still could have been enough.
And it's going in favor of Skyfoxes. Now they are up an extra member, and they're just hunting down the rest of bye week. Minish will fall as DPS picks that up. There's only 2 left for bye week, and in that last fight, it was set up perfectly by DPS. That man right there you see on the screen, with that Winston using the Primal Rage, he bats Pizza Demon into the rest of the Skyfoxes. Once in the middle of it, Pizza Demon had to use that Transcend or he was dead. And so he does, and that allows Jaro to wait it out and go in with that Blade. He did ultimately fall, but they had enough damage across the board to finish this out.
They're gonna open up this fight with the barrier. Not much to back it up aside for a self-destruct, but they've already got finished. The barrier did enough, allowed them to be aggressive, but on the point, they let bye week just slip by them. Bye week was able to flip it back over, so what could be an instant victory now could turn into a long, turned-out delay. Bye week fighting their way back in. Shane's Primal Rage, though, his rage has hit his limit. He's ended up falling. Jaru dashes back onto the point, and the Skyfox is still in firm control.
Yeah, Shane just playing too much aggro there as the big boss Primal Raged Winston. So the point will flip, overtime ticking away. A little slow, but still not slow enough. No, someone does make it back. It's Minish on the Doomfist, but he's instantly taken out by Retzi.
When in emergency, break glass, bring out Doomfist, but Winston couldn't quite get to the point in time. Bye week, fighting strong, but the Skyfoxes fighting a bit better. We're going to round 3.
Series much scrappier than I was expecting so far, but again, just want to say, we haven't seen Retzi on the Widowmaker, but his Brigitte has been very strong now. But as we move on to University, we'll see if they continue to stick with this. Generally not a composition we see here. Teams do favor, of course, the Pharah and X composition, whether it be a Hanzo, a Widowmaker, or even the McCree. It looks like Skyfoxes aren't making any change-ups.
Which is a little bit weird. I mean, Genji is actually one hero that's a little bit less than favored here on this particular stage, just because you do see more Roadhogs, you see more McCrees, but bye week, gonna go to the Pharah, and Waifu gonna be a little bit meatier on the Hog, where, of course, you can hook people into the pin, it's quite good. Risky opening from the Skyfoxes, could end up getting booped in one way or another, and they're playing on the outskirts, and oh boy, that's why you don't do that. Hedan ends up falling to the abyss, and the Skyfoxes might pay for this highly aggressive opening. So far, still looking to get in, but Minish is there on the punish.
Yeah, there's no one to deal with him whatsoever, so he's getting all this free damage off. And yeah, you had mentioned it, right? They were playing, basically just walking on a tightrope there. It was the only member who didn't have any mobility, of course, it's Hidan on the Zenyatta that gets spoofed. Everyone else had to use their shifts. And in a dive composition, you don't want to use your mobility tools just to keep yourself safe. You want to use that to jump on targets and burst them down.
And that's exactly why I don't see people take that path very often, because it's not just a Pharah. I mean, you could have a Lucio hiding there being sneaky of all things.
Play the game.
It's less likely. Yeah, play the game, exactly. You don't really want to run that route most of the time. So the Skyfoxes got cheeky, they got burnt.
And they haven't changed anything up. They're going to stick with this composition. They've already taken so much poke damage on him. DPS, though, gets healed up with that armor pack, but he's already dropping down low once again. Storm Arrow comes out as Minish still uncontested in the high ground. They do take out Waifu, but here's a barrage.
Jaru, gang work done on the other side. The Dragon from Lifa, perhaps too little too late here. Skyfox is cleaning up in all aspects as Hidan channels his old damaged self there. Flashes of the old school Hidan as he found 3.
The Skyfoxes, they're able to just gut this out. But they gave up 46% to bye week, who now are swapping off onto a quad tank composition. They've got the Reinhardt, they've got the Zarya, along with the Brigitte, and of course the D.Va. That's Waifu swapping over from the Roadhog now. So a lot of changes coming out as JKW goes over to Lucio. But this is going to be difficult. Quad tank without something like a Brigitte or even, you know, a Moira.
It's old school bye week and they have the Transcendence. Gonna try and keep those beefy bodies alive. The problem is that JKW wasn't in the prayer circle, and Jaru, he's got no time for prayers. The praying is over, but it probably should begin. He goes in, the Blade picks off one, and that's gonna be enough to throw them back. Jaru now going, all right, come back the other way. That's good, that'll do.
So if a Zenyatta would be like the prayer circle, would Zenyatta and Lucio be a drum circle?
The drum circle, you know, I could get behind that. A new musical act.
Go ahead and
Peace and
throw in
harmony
the
for all.
Orisa also. Just get all the percussion in there.
Bring in the band.
Yeah. Now it's going to be Bye-Week trying to bring in the pain. They've got their Earth Shatter. They don't have a Zarya ultimate quite yet, though. So here we go. No one to really block it, but they have the mobility. Self-destruct comes out from Skyfoxes.
Self-destruct back up the other way. Meanwhile, Shane going, okay, shield almost broken. Do I drop the hammer now? Now? Question mark? Now? Now! Drops it. And it's not quite as impactful as he might have liked. The Skyfoxes come back at the Transcendent. Shane ends up dashing off the point, and the Skyfoxes now 25% away from victory. Mish gonna fall, and it's not getting any better here for Bye-Week.
Now the Moira is there for Pizza Demon, so he's got the Coalescence out now. She just builds it up super quickly with the quad tank here. But Retzi getting chased down. He doesn't have his Mercy in tow. He doesn't have any healing in tow. As there we go, the blade comes out for Jaru. He takes out left and now he's on to that Lucio, but he's booped away, finds him in the corridors, takes him out. Jane.
I don't understand how you boop him away and then run back into him for the blade. You kind of know where he's going, but, well, at that time, the hammer just smashed his face, so it doesn't matter as much. Bye-Week still in it, but the question is for how long they need to hold off for 2 more fights.
56% up against the 96 of Skyfoxes, and Skyfoxes threw everything at that last fight. Bye-Week are gonna have extra armor onto all their tanks here, and also take a look, both support ultimates coming online as a speed boost right onto Guru. They're gonna get the D-Mech.
That Korean War Mech is not cheap. It's about to explode. And now here comes the grab the other side. Minish knew there was opportunity. Teaching a whole new way to have that circle. They're all blown up. And off of that Graviton, Skyfox is now going to be down to their final attack.
There's a Coalescence on the field, and so Retzi has to be careful playing this Pharah. Pete's Demon can use that to just focus him down. It's very easy to try and hit him in the air, and so now he's making his flanking play here from the left-hand side. He's got the pocket of Jer as he's trying to desperately get towards that barrage.
And he's going to get to that barrage. He climbed his way up the mountain. Now it's time to lay down the pebbles, the rocks, making an avalanche. Retzi back the other way, drops the barrage, and oh boy, Waifu was there with disaster control, got in his face with defensive matrix, ruined Retzi's day. Bye-Week, hale and hearty right now on the point. Waifu gonna set some fireworks off in a celebration. Doesn't quite get anything with it. Bye-Week in a bit of trouble, but they got Jer on the other side. Leaf with the shield bash, and suddenly Bye-Week brings it back the other way. Mouth one could be theirs. It's a late blade by Jaru, but it might not be enough. And what? That's weird. He looked like he was on point, but he wasn't.
Who am I to question
physics?
Yeah. Physics and programming, yeah.
Yeah. I do want to point out, going into this, we talked about how on paper, when you look at these rosters, Skyfoxes definitely seems like they have the edge. One thing I noticed in that match watching it is Bye-Week in these scrappy situations where nobody's running set plays, it's just madness all over the place. There are individual players on Bye-Week that feel like they make the difference.
Certainly, and I mean, Bye-Week, one thing that we saw there is that Shane had more moments of controlled chaos where he was getting very good problem rages off. Also, you take a look at players who pick at Impact. Lifa has always been solid for him. I think he's been the standout star for Bye-Week over and over again. I would say, though, to Skyfoxes is that I'm not that convinced about putting Retzi on the Brigitte, where I think he's fine on it, but you're just losing what has made you so explosive in the past.
Yeah, I mean, we played through all the maps, and definitely on City Center, you can play the Widowmaker, and I think they kind of should have. But also going over to Garden there, that is still a Widowmaker map. You can play her there on the flanks, but it's definitely not their best look. Retzi looked fantastic, I would say, on the Brigitte, but I feel like he would have been a lot more impactful on something else. He went over to the far towards the end there, but it still wasn't enough. And you had mentioned Shane. He was just kind of really unchecked with that Reinhardt, especially once they went back to Season 1 roots and went for that quad tank. He was building up shatters left and right.
Yeah, certainly, as we're seeing it, it feels like when Skyfoxes get to dictate the pace of things, it certainly plays more to their strengths. I'm curious to see the point you brought up about Brigitte, if we're going to see Retzi maybe thrown back on what he knows, what he's best at. And it seems like kind of a theme of the night is people kind of just going on Brigitte. And it's a powerful hero. It's not exactly super difficult to learn compared to other heroes some of these folks play, but you can tell it's not necessarily their comfort pick.
Well, I had a long talk with the Overwatch League player the other night where I don't want to put him on record in case he doesn't want out there, but you know, his general take on things was when talking about Brigitte is that it's a lot of flavor of the month right now where people are just like, we're going to try and make it work and everything, even if it doesn't make any sense. And you're still seeing this in a lot of teams where they're going to try and force Brigitte no matter what. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of shades back in Season 1 Contenders where you had a period where teams were just like, we're going to play Sombra no matter what. It's like, I don't think you want to do that. You know, adapt to the situation.
Yeah, now we've only seen Sombra, what, twice this season so far? So
well,
she definitely has fallen out of favor.
Speaking of things we haven't seen a ton of, I did go back and kind of look at where these teams have had success. When we're looking at Skyfoxes, they've won twice on Rialto, once on Anubis, and Byweek has won once on Anubis. So that was the first Oasis win for either of the teams. And we go to Eichenwald, where neither team has won just yet. So it's kind of interesting to see as they're playing against each other, you know, is this something maybe where they feel like they have pocket strategies that are going to benefit them, or were maybe the other options worse for them?
I mean, it's hard to say. The one thing that worries me a little bit here with Skyfox's brand to Eichenwald is that a lot of teams have favored Ryan Brigida for way too long here, even when they have other options. So even though I look at this and be like, hey, this is great. You could run Pharah, Widow here. You put Jaro on the Pharah, Redsi on the Widow. You're golden. I now look at the Skyfoxes for the last round and be like, oh no, they're going to try and like goats come through
Point B, Brigida. Yeah.
It worries me, and I think we could see that. I hope we don't, but I do wonder if they've gotten the Brigida virus here.
If Redsi is not on Widowmaker, at least Redsi on Widowmaker, and Jaru, if Jaru's on the Brigitte, that's fine. Just have someone on like a hard carry role, and that should be Redsi here, especially on Eichenwald, because Widowmaker is so insanely powerful on point A and on point B. Point C maybe just a little bit, but still, you need that kind of firepower, and especially with how well Redsi's been performing these last few weeks, you cannot give up that opportunity.
Yeah, and for sure, and the way Skyfoxes were performing, at least in that last map, too, like, you're supporting cast, your non-carry, non-DPS players, they're backing you up, right? DPS is playing well, Guru's looked solid. Certainly, reward them by picking the players that are going to give you that pick potential and going to allow you to reward their play.
Yeah, I mean, using an old NBA example here is that, you know, if you have Michael Jordan, do you really want him to turn into John Stockton? Stockton's a great player. A lot of good assists throughout his career. He's not Michael Jordan draining threes to win the game at the very end.
I feel like you had Twitch chat at Jordan, but the second you went to Stockton, like, people are, like, Wikipediaing John Stockton. He was a great point guard, by the way. Probably top 10, top 5 of all time.
He made Karl Malone look very good.
Again, Twitch chat, you've lost them. you had, like, Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley as your options, and only Charles Barkley because of memes.
Charles Barkley. People know him more for his banter with Shaq than they know him for his actual playing career at this point.
Oh, no, Twitch chat might know him more for Space Jam at this point.
I was going to say, or all the memes you can see on YouTube.
Does anyone even remember Muggsy, though? He was in that movie, too.
All right, I'm going to bang the gavel.
Yeah.
All right, relax. No more NBA talk, but we're giving them players a couple minutes to get ready here. Some of them were having computer issues, so we're making sure they're all set before we hop into Eichenwald. So Eichenwald, as we've said, there are certain pitfalls you can fall into if you're not careful with your strategy and how you curate it. I agree, though. I definitely don't want to see the Brigida on point B anymore. I feel like that's something the teams have done a couple times where you're in this wide outdoor area that doesn't favor the Brigitte playstyle, and you're kind of on the ground like, come on, guys, come on.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it's just like, stop.
Yeah.
You got point A for it for a reason. Point B plays different, also for a reason. You know, evaluate your battlefild and adjust accordingly.
Yeah, when the Brigitte is kind of left with that flail, just swinging at the air, it's kind of like old man yelling at cloud.
Yeah. Am I out of touch, or is it the meta? But we're going to find out as we hop into Eichenwald. Gentlemen, map number 2, can Skyfoxes tie it up?
No, it's the children. But now, we go into Eichenwald. It's going to be bye week here on the defense end. Oh, man. We see Redsi on the Brigida once more.
It's the offense. Give him time.
Yeah, I mean...
Give him time.
It's fine for point A. Fine. You want to put him on Brigida for point A? Do it. Knock yourself out. If he's staying on point B longer than 2 pushes and it's not working, I'm going to rip up a piece of paper that I don't read.
Edan showing off his interpretive dance moves there on the Moira. This is actually pretty good. Look at that. But right now, bye week.
Sorry, I was saying talk back there. That was not there.
All right, so now Skyfoxes, it doesn't look like, there we go. Swap-offs coming out. It is going to be the GOATS comp as they attack point A, which we've seen here on Eichenwald. It's pretty darn good for taking point A.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't pick someone off in the first 2 seconds and you love getting to the point, suddenly you're in a rough shape, and Skyfoxes immediately take a presence to the point. Minish can't even get away, and okay, well, now you're down to Hanzo, who's actually going to derail the GOATs here. Down chain. The odds of actually pulling this back just went down massively. Already a third is going to the Skyfoxes, so this is pretty good from a GOAT setup and what you're looking for, especially when Outleaf is out of the fight.
Yeah, I was about to say, Minish was their best chance after getting res to try and bring this back, because that's what Hanzo does with the Storm Arrow. But, you know, this is what the GOAT's composition does. It just runs in your face, and it soaks up damage and just trades away much more effectively because They have the HP pool to do it with. Take a look at the aggression coming out. They're trying to get these staggered eliminations, and they might actually get it onto Shane, who is able to jump out just barely. Retzi sticks around for far too long and gets taken out by Minish, though. But still, the aggression is not being stopped by the Skyfoxes.
Yeah,
push it. No,
they're pretty deep into the castle. Where, by the way, look close at the payload. Okay, now they're gonna put what? Okay.
Okay.
No. Bad DPS. Bad.
Oh.
Do not do that. Why? Please run back to the payload. Revert yourself. Also, Retzi's up Widow now, so that's good.
Yeah, Retzi has since swapped off onto the Widowmaker. We'll see if any more changes come out for the Skyfoxes, or if they want to stick with the triple tank setup. I mean, might as well. Jaru is at 92% now towards the Graviton Surge as they're trying to chase down Leafa. He gets absolutely melted by Jaru there.
That was a grade 3 concussion right to the back of the head. Rocket Hammer induced. Skyfoxes come back to the payload. Bye week. Had a bit of delay going on the other way, where I think the Skyfoxes now remembered it's like, oh right, we have to move the rocket-powered battering ram to the castle. That makes sense.
I like how they just put rockets on everything here in Germany. There we go. We have the Graviton Surge. It connects onto one, but the Transcendence is not there in time. Waifudo with the self-destruct is able to try and answer back in favor, and Slified that gets the better of Retzi. Minish falls to his death of all people on the Hanzo. Looks like he missed his lunge.
So I have a PSA to the Skyfoxes, which is that your ultimates are important resources. Please stop throwing them at 1 or 0 people, particularly your tanks, where I know Jaro's gonna swap, but you can get a little bit more value out of the Graviton prior to the swap. Either way, though, it's turned into a bit of pandemonium. Skyfoxes are doing well in this pandemonium. DPS has an Earth Shatter, and there's a lot of tasty ground all around him.
This was the roughly the same area that he used his last Earth Shatter, and so now, as Bye-Week are making their approach to try and recontest this point from the left-hand side, you have Waifu coming in for the right to try and get in. Oh, DPS!
You know,
it's batted back.
You have a rocket hammer, I think you could just ride that thing back up, but no, only use it for swinging. And speaking of swinging, Shane's swinging for the fences. Can make it a triple here, just knocking people off into the abyss. There's crocodiles down there in those waters.
Yeah, I was about to say, at the beginning of that fight, you know, Shane, he's got that primal rage in there right at the bridge. You gotta be careful. Environmental kills really coming on in. But still, Skyfoxes, they've got 3 minutes to try and finish this off, as we do have some swap-offs. Never mind. It's still Lefa on the Widowmaker, who has been challenging Retzi, and I'm surprised that he's actually been able to do this up against him. Jaru is now swapped over to the Hanzo, though. He was playing the Tracer beforehand, and so now it's going to be the double sniper threat, so it's going to be that much harder for Lefa.
Yeah, I mean, you got double sniper, you got dive. Leafa certainly going to have some trouble dealing with either end of this here. And I do like the fact that the Skyfoxes haven't stayed on Goats Comp through point B, so teams have learned a bit.
It's an improvement. Yeah, but still, Skyfoxes are taking their time. They have to wait out the duration of the Recon Visor coming out from Lefa. Then now, as it does subside, that's when Skyfoxes make their move. They push on to the point as the Valkyrie is used. Self-destruct comes out as Guru barely makes it back onto the bridge. Jaru takes out Pizza Demon, but Shane is able to just apply the pressure, taking out DPS.
Leafa's still doing a lot of work here in the back. 60 HP. Back-to-back here versus Retzi. Even gets a little bit onto Jaru. Retzi and Jaru both getting checked. Tiden ends up falling, and Leafa being a one-man army in the back. Skyfoxes, though, not getting without a few trades. Trying to set the stage to get back in, but it's a long run back if you lose anyone here. They haven't made much progress for a while.
Well, they are slowly creeping up. They have Guru on the point with that Diva. As the Dragon Strike comes out, it forces the Transcendence and will get Leafa.
Okay, yeah, I mean, he went into the Dragon there. Transcend's not gonna be enough when it's damage boosted. That was questionable. Leafa ends up falling again. Jaru picks him off. Retzi now, room to work with in the back. Laying in shot after shot, but still gotta get people on the payload. Supports it back in. Retzi, no! Oh, just barely gets back in, but might not matter.
To what
Shane
end?
Chases it down. Oh, to what end? I mean, dying an honorable death against the wall instead of in the moat.
All right, Bye-Week doing a really great job so far of stabilizing here on the defense. Skyfoxes took point A rather quickly with the Goats Comp and then got slowed down here. Now Bye-Week, honestly, in that one fight territory where if they can win one more fight, they just put a stop to this push. Skyfoxes now taking their outside way to get onto the point. They could have taken the inner portion of the ramparts there, but instead, looks like they're still trying to figure out how to approach this. Retzi looking for an opening, but has to back away.
I think Shane just left there and reactions like, "Hoo!" It's like, wait. It's not actually done. It's fine. Skyfoxes for another way back in. You see Drew go in pretty aggressively, start things out. The rest of it, the double snipers looking for picks around the outskirts. Bi-Week hiding behind the payload, but now it's an even deeper engage with the Transcend. But Leafa gets Retzi super early in the fight. He's gonna loop around to the left. More targets in his sights. Down goes Hedan, and Leafa gets what he's looking for here. Bi-Week gonna clean up on the payload. And Skyfox's run is gonna end perhaps right here, and it does.
What a great defense coming out from Bi-Week. The aggression of Shane, along with Leafa, coming up with some huge pickoffs with that Widowmaker. Able to just get them a great defensive hold on the second point of Eichenwald. So now Skyfoxes, this is where they need to defend here from Bi-Week. They need to make sure that the payload does not make it across this bridge. Now Bi-Week, we'll see. Will they continue with the quad tank shenanigans? They definitely could. On to point A of Eichenwald.
Yeah, it's been also strange where, I mean, I think part of it is just the fact that Leafa's been playing out of his mind, but it's been a more contained game from Retzi here so far, where we've seen very good things from Retzi, and this is supposed to be the sort of ordained breakout game where Bi-Week hasn't played quite up to the same level, and Skyfox, even though they had a very good early attack where the Goats comp did enough, they get to point B and the double sniper comp just unable to make any relevant space. And part of it too, they did throw away momentum at the beginning where when you go so deep in the castle at the beginning and then you don't leave anyone back on the payload, it's kind of like, guys, you're losing sight of what's important here.
Yeah, a lot of how that fight broke down is just that Leafa, you know, even though he was having to contest against, both a Hanzo and the Widowmaker, he was able to play safely behind the cover of a lot of just the broken walls, and it was Shane who was just kind of smoking out the snipers and making sure they weren't able to just get free shots off. They were under consistent pressure. Shane was a huge contributing factor to, I would say, their defensive hold there. We saw his primal rages every time he had it came up huge, getting a double, maybe even a triple kill.
Now that we turn our eyes to the attack, I do think that we have a minigame here. And the minigame is, Jaru, can you dodge the Widow, where the interplay between Jaru and Leafa is going to be very important. If Leafa is able to go forward, find an early pick, well, guess what? I think Skyfox is going to lose point A pretty quickly. And oh, as I say that, Jaru just gets chunked within an inch of his life to start out the game.
Triple support composition for Bi-Week here. Double tank. Of course, Leafa as the primary DPS, but on the Widowmaker, he has to come up with some clutch pickoffs. They speed boost their way on through the computer store here. No, he spots out the Hanzo. Retzi has to be careful. He's able to just lunge away, but the Hanzo comes in, and they capitalize onto Minish.
Yeah, Hedan able to get that early pickoff, making it a lot easier. And now with the Brigida and D.Va out of the fight early, just do you really want to commit heavier? And the answer is no. And that means for Jaru, be careful where you poke your head out. Don't give an early pickoff here if you don't have to.
Yeah, you just play behind this tower, and that's how most of the Pharahs on the defensive end really do approach the defense. As Bi-Week, they're going to regroup, and it looks like they're going to try and make that same maneuver. They make their way on into the left-hand side. There is a Sonic Arrow, I believe, out, so they get spotted. They're able to make it into the computer store, but this time instead they run straight into the middle of Bi-Week.
Leafa's taking so long to find the fire. Meanwhile, on the other side, Jaru's being like, this is great, I can rain down rockets, no one's pressuring me. However, DPS still gets pressured down. Bi-Week rotating out. Retzi desperately looking for anything, but while he's looking, Bi-Week is getting. And now, Jaru and Retzi are still up, but they have no team with them.
Yeah, it seems like Bi-Week just kind of like groomed and like conditioned Skyfoxes to react to that play, right? Because I even thought that they were going to go for that speed boost into the computer store and then slowly make their way on in. Shane, the Primal Rage in the back line, getting a better ultimate off than DPS did when he was on the right her to try to go for that super big stagger.
Well, yeah, Shane is hitting people and not just defenseless Castle Rock. So, yes, that is a better Primal Rage than the Earth Shatter we saw from DPS, and it's more effective at buying time. Although I will note the same thing is that Bi-Week, put someone back on the payload. There we go.
By the way, the destruction actually inside Eichenwald Castle is just DPS just swinging in around and using his Earth Shatter on inanimate objects. Dragon Strike comes out and it will punish Minish. But having to commit that ultimate just to break out here for the defense is huge coming out from Bi-Week.
I mean, just a testament to the pressure that Bi-Week has been putting on here. But now Jaru can go to this guy's here in point B. This is where Farah has plenty of room to work with, so long as you can avoid the opposing Widow. But Leaf has had a lot of room to work with. Almost picks off the Mercy, goes up high, hook shot in, tries to get it and can't quite yet. Meanwhile, Jaru back on the other end. Barrage loaded, he's gonna peek around the backside. Here we go, lets it loose, deals with his kryptonite on the other end, but ends up falling, and I'm not sure that was worth it.
I like how Jer was just there. He's like, oh yeah, you're gonna die. I'm not gonna heal you through this. I'm just gonna get ready to res. Still going back and forth here as the tank line have still kept themselves onto the point. Now with Shane falling though, it looks like Bi-Week might just have to give up the ghost, but instead, they've got Jer here. They're gonna, JKW here, and oh no, Waifu gets hooked in to the ground. There we go, Hedown is able to send him off the ledge as we have the reset.
What? Question mark, Jaru perhaps lost more energy there than he thought and ended up falling. I don't think he's going for a reset. Oh, he is going for, okay, so that was intentional. He is going for a reset.
All right.
I was gonna say, that seemed weird, but.
Yeah, he looked down and like he still had resources left in his thing. I was really confused. Halt Hook does not connect on to the Diva, and Bi-Week were able to regroup there in the ramparts. With the rally, they catch out Guru, they get the D-Mic, and that is huge.
Big plays here from Bi-Week, bigger initiative. Shane saying the tone, Primal Rage in tow. He could go ape at any point here. Meanwhile, Bi-Week goes, just gonna reel this back a little bit, focus on the payload, remove these bodies, get this payload moving, and they're gonna do exactly that.
This is such a weird defense coming up from Skyfoxes there to try and set up with the Orisa. I understand, I guess, because they don't want to play the bridge. They don't want to play that close. As Shane, who has been expertly just batting people around and getting those environmental kills, and now we are coming to the bridge portion. 2 minutes and 15 seconds left for Bi-Week to finish this out, and they could take a 2-0 lead up against our favorites in Skyfoxes.
They only need a little bit more. Skyfoxes stuck in the castle, and here's a big boom, moving out of the way, and they still get Hedan. That was super aggressive, but super good. Meanwhile, Lifa gets Guru from the other side, but it comes at cost. Retzi trying to get back out. Oh no, they don't touch the point in time. The distraction in the castle works, and the Bi-Week up now 2-0 over Skyfoxes.
All right, I'm just going to ask. We picked Skyfoxes as the favorite here. What is going wrong for them? Why is this not working? Jamerson starting with you.
Well, we picked them. That's what went wrong.
I was going to say, I didn't pick them. I'm really smart. I didn't pick them, but go ahead. What did you guys pick?
Okay, we will not use, when we use we, we're referring to myself and Jamerson. Yeah. You're in the clear, Bones Malone. You're fine. You're clearly omniscient, perfect.
If you never try, you can never be wrong.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the life lesson here.
Yeah, when I use we, I mean it as in, like in the royal sense. So just
sure.
Yeah.
But you guys picked. So what's happening here? Why are things going south for the Skyfoxes in the first half of the series?
I think part of it you have to two things. A, you look to tank play, and Bi-Week is playing on the tank side far better. I think Shane's having arguably his best series of the entire season right now. And the second thing is that Retzi's been contained tonight, where part of it was that he was on Brigida on map 1, but didn't really have that excuse here on Eichenwald. He simply was not getting the momentum he normally did. But a big part of that was this guy, where any time Retzi was trying to set up, you have a monkey in your face. It's not fun.
Yeah, Shane definitely, I will say that having watched him thus far this season, my critique to him is that, as you said, a lot of times the chaos is not controlled. It's just Shane kind of going off and he dies off alone, surrounded by 3 people. But this time around, he's being impactful. He's making sure to get those kills. He's making sure to not over-push himself for the most part. Jamerson, anything else you're seeing that's really like causing the issue here for Skyfoxes?
Well, no, definitely. It was that map pick, Eichenwald itself on the bridge portion works out really well for how Shane likes to play. He wants to be that carry Winston. He wasn't able to do the same thing on Oasis when he was on Winston, right? We saw some odd primal rages coming out from him where like he uses that at the tail end of a losing fight and so he doesn't have it for the next one. But where he can get these environmental kills is where Winston can be the most impactful. We see it on places like Lijiang Night Market, where if people are too close to the ledge, the Winston can easily get a 2-3-man boop. And so I think this map is actually really working out in Bi-Week's favor.
Fully agreed, and I do think that if Skyfoxes brought the King's Row, they would have been able to slow things down a little bit. They would have forced Shane back in the Reinhardt, where we saw last week Shane actually had a problem where he was a little bit too aggressive on Ryan, tried to force Earth Shatters too much, ended up getting punished rather frequently for it. So map choice, I don't think was really in Skyfox's favor. I fully concur with your point, and I mean, more than anything else, Skyfoxes across the board, they're playing worse than I think we've seen them in the last few weeks, and Bi-Week is playing markedly better.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to see how this pans out for Skyfoxes after the break. They're going to need that full reverse sweep, so hopefully they grab the broom over the break. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the conclusion of the series.